Hi everyone, as I promised last week, I have popped back on to make another video today with the other side of the new release from Purple Onion Designs. So this is one of the stamps by the Chili's Graphy by Pay range. These are really cute stamps, all really cute images with lots of uses. Again, they're unmounted red rubber. And I've done a really simple card with it, just as an example of what it looks like coloured in. I'm really liking working with pencil crayons at the moment. I'm finding it much easier to control than my Copics. And I know lots of people don't like craft card, but I love working on craft when I'm using pencils because it's got a bit of a tooth to it, so it just really takes the pencil crayon really well. I use polychromos pencils predominantly, but I do have a few others to extend my colour palette. So I've literally just stamped this image in black onto the middle of the card, use my pencils to colour it in, and then I thought I'd give it a fun confetti style background, and I've just used 3 colours of stickles, so you can see there's a bit of shimmer, just to draw some little squiggles so it looks like confetti's falling down on the birthday scene. And I've stamped a happy birthday. I think that's from the Seagulls stamp by Waffle Flower, but I'll double check what I used because I can't quite remember. And I'll link all the products that I have used in the comments at the end of the video. But what I wanted to show you was how you can take your stamped images one step further and mix a different craft rather than just stamping. Because images like this are perfect for decoupage. And I don't know if you're familiar with decoupage, but it's basically the layering up of images, so you get like a 3D effect. So this image is perfect because you've got the cat in front of the bear, the rabbit in front of the bear, so you can build layers up, cut them out, and create a 3D image. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. So what I've done, so that you're not sitting watching me colouring forever, I've started because it's the actual decoupage process that I want to show you today. So what I'll be working on is I've got one of our plain white base cards, and I've stamped the image once, and I've just coloured in the hat on this layer because to me that's the layer that's the furthest at the back because it's sort of sitting to the back of the bear's head. So that's all I'm going to colour on that layer. And then I've stamped the image another 4 2/2 times because I didn't need the whole images, so I just turned it around at the bottom. So on this layer, this will be our next layer that gets stuck on top of the base card. So I've coloured the bear and the tail on the cat with a finished colour. I've added a little bit of shading around the edges of the other images that I'm going to decoupage over, so that, and I need to do that on the base card, I haven't done that yet, just so that if the recipient tilts the card and looks down, they're not seeing any white space where you've glued the layers on. So that'll be layer number 2. Then layer number 3 will be the coloured in cat and the foot on the bear, because that's sticking further forward. I could have added an extra layer. I realised I could have done his belly and then added the foot to give it even more depth, but I haven't. But you can just pick your way through. So again, I've coloured the edges of the bunny and the cake because they'll show under the next layer. So on the next layer, and I haven't quite finished the colouring on the bunny, I've just noticed, so I'll go back to that. Oh no, I have. So this is the bunny layer, sorry, and then there'll be the hand to go over the cat, and then I've also done the face of the bunny and the arm as a separate layer and the hat as a separate layer. I've done the bare face because you can sort of, it will make sense once I've cut all these out, but you don't have to just cut out one image on each layer. So some bits that I can cut out of one layer, I have done up to, I've got 4 different layers on this one image. I've got the cat arms, the bunny arm, the face, the hat, and the bear face, and they'll all go in different layers on the project when I've done. And then I've just finished with the hand, the nose, and the nose on these images down here. I wrote myself some little notes as I was going round because it can get a bit confusing, as you can tell by my description now, as to what layers you're colouring and cutting on each level. But once you get going, then it's quite easy. So I'm just going to roughly chop the images apart. So now I've chopped the tail because I don't need that. I use my big scissors at this stage, but then when I'm doing the actual fussy cutting, I switch to a really tiny pair of decoupage scissors. I find the smallest scissors possible are the ones that I get the most control with. And if you do have issues with fussy cutting, it does come with practice, but smaller scissors I do find generally are easier. And the other trick is lots of people turn their scissors, and that's when you get into trouble. So you keep cutting straight forward with your scissors and you turn your paper, so then you'll get a much neater line. And I can cut out just about anything with scissors. I do a lot of paper piecing of tiny images, and I really like that as well. Sometimes I have to have my glasses on these days. Haven't got them on yet, but it's just a case of taking your time and working your way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video at this point, because now I've shown you the technique of cutting, I really don't think you want to sit and watch me cut all these images out. So what I'll do is I'll carry on cutting, and then I will come back to you once I've got all the elements lined up, and then I'll show you how to layer them up to make the decoupage picture. Okay. Hi everybody, I'm back again. I've done almost all of my cutting out. I've just left this little piece here, if I can see on the camera. So this is the arms on the cat. So unlike all the other pieces which have a defined edge that you're cutting around, where the arm sort of joins the body, there isn't a defined line. So I thought I'd just show you what I'm going to do here. So I've got round most of it, and then when I get to the bottom of the arm, I'm just going to sort of make a rounded shape, because I'm going to blend that into the base image. So rather than it being stuck up flat, it's going to be at an angle, so it looks like the arm's coming out of the cat, if that makes sense. So that's how to deal with that bit. So you'll see off to the side here now I've got all my levels, so hopefully this will start to make some sense. So on the first image, the first layer, I've cut out everything except the hat. So when that goes over, even without any dimensional glue, you'll see that that's already looking like a layer. Then the next layer, I've cut out the cat without his tail, so he'll layer up there. And I've cut out the bunny, the foot and the cake. I'll also show you here as well, where there's the tiny little bit, find the camera, sorry, I can't see what I'm doing, where there's the tiny little bit in between the ear and the hat that would be, that wouldn't have colour. I've actually just snipped it to cut it out. You can cut the holes out with a craft knife, but because you're gluing it all down and there's a defined line to cut round, nobody's going to know that you've snipped it. So that's how I do the cutting more easily. So that will layer up over there. Then, oh, and I've missed a bit of cutting on this one. Excuse me. So then we've got the bunny coloured in. So you cut out on it. The way to think of it, it's like the video I did last week where we were thinking about the layers of stamping and working backwards. It's the same thing when you're turning a stamped image into a decoupage. You're thinking about each layer, and you cut away anything that on the layer below has been coloured. So I've I did the bunny's tail on the first one, so on all the other bunnies I've cut the tail off because that's already finished on a layer. So then we're going to have the bunny there. I forgot to put the mouth on. We're going to have the mouth of the bear will be another layer. Then we've got the mouth and the hand and the cake and the arm holding the cake as another layer. And then we've got all the little top pieces. So hopefully you can see how the sandwich is going to come together. So now I'll show you how to assemble it all. So what I use for decoupage is pin flare glue gel. You won't find this in the shop. I did look at stocking it because I do use it an awful lot myself, but we can't compete with prices of a certain store named after a river in Brazil. So I just buy mine from there. If you've never used pin flare glue before, it looks a little bit like silicone that you'd buy from, sorry, there you go, that you'd buy from a hardware store, but it's silicone free, it dries clear, and it's colourless, and it doesn't smell as much as silicone does as either, so that's really useful. So what I do to apply it is I use my pokey tool. So it's just like a bradawl, and I just squeeze small amounts out from the tube, pop them on the end of my pokey tool, and then I'll apply them, sort of roll them off onto the back of the image. So that's what gives you the depth. Let me just move all my pieces up a little bit, and then I can get this more on camera, right? So just squeeze, get a little bit on the end of the pokey tool, and literally just roll it onto the back of the image. So it does take a little while because you want little blobs everywhere, because you're trying to, especially on a large base image like this, you could go directly onto the image with more. I'm sort of spreading it around because you want a good base layer so that you've got something you can apply a bit of pressure to when you put your next layer on and you're not squashing or you're gluing. But I go around the edges first, deal with any tiny little bits like the fronds on the hat, and just keep squeeze, roll, spread. And it doesn't, I use my bradawl for other things as well, not just glue, so you just give it a quick wipe on the kitchen roll when you're finished, and you won't be left with glue all over your roll as long as you take it off while it's still wet. It does take a while to fully dry, so I've never had a problem. Sorry, I'm finding it hard to talk and concentrate at the same time. If you have got any questions about anything that I'm doing, or if anything's not clear, then please do leave a comment. I am relatively new to the world of YouTube. I do keep trying, but I know I'm not brilliant at it, so if you've got anything you'd like me to improve, I'm trying to be better with lighting. I hope the sound's all right today. It's incredibly windy here in Sheffield today, so I don't know if you can hear the wind outside the window and the traffic noise, but hopefully you can hear me. So that's enough glue on our first layer. So now I'm just going to line that up with the base image, and you'll see that that's got, and I didn't do red behind the hat so that can be seen, so I'll just colour that bit in, and then just apply a little bit of pressure. Rick, one of these lights has just gone out. Excuse me, we're having technical issues. We might have a flat battery on the light. Hope you can still see that. Okay, so that's our first layer down. So let me pick that up. So now you should be able to see, if I tilt that to the camera, that there is some depth. So it does look like the bear's head is sitting above his hat. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add his face, because I'm only doing one layer to that. And this is how I'll show you how I mean about the blending the edges. So I'm going to add glue at the bottom of his face, which will be flatter. So I'm spreading it out. And I've got the bottom and the top the wrong way around, it doesn't matter. We need glue everywhere. There we go, we've got a bit more light again now. So that's my bottom, and then I'm going to add a deeper block at the top. And so when I put this down, rather than just going flat, I'm going to stick his whiskers down so that it joins the card, and just angle the top of it a little bit. You can shape the paper with your fingers a little bit, which I'll show you when I do the arms on the cat. I'm going to press it down. I don't want it raising too much because I want to still be able to see his eyes, but you can see there now. You can see why I do a bit of colour on the layer in between as well, so you're not getting the white underneath. But then you can see that that's all raised up a little bit, so it looks like his mouth is further forward than his face. Okay, and then we're going to add the cat as our next layer. So again, exactly the same process. Oops. Just some blobs of glue. Bit more at the top. Tweezers. So on this layer I've just got the cat, and again his tail is coloured in on that layer, so I've cut his tail off on this layer because we don't need that on this layer. And I've coloured the bird in as well on this layer. So then we're going to tuck him down so that he's covering up the layer between. So again, let's give it a lift. So now you can see we've got some real depth to the image. These are great to do for gifts. If you get IKEA do great little inexpensive packs of box frames. So you could make one of these up, and they're great to decorate children's bedrooms. And then they're not just, you know, a card for 5 minutes and thrown away. Okay, let's deal with his hands while we're on the bunny, because there's on the cat, because there's no, other than his nose, which I'll do in a second, there's no more layers to the cat. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shape his hands so that you can see, even when I lay it down, there's a bit, they're sticking out, they're bending in the middle like they look like they would be. So again, I'm going to have a blob of glue in the middle to support that being more raised. And then both edges are going to have less glue because I want it to be flatter. And that's how we sort of make it look more realistic as a 3D image. And again, I put some colour under the cat's arms, but I didn't bother with the detailed colouring, the striping. But then you can see what I mean about how that just curved bit that I cut has disappeared into the cat, so that looks really realistic, like he's holding his hands up to his mouth. And then I have cut out his nose, and it's tiny, so I'm going to put a dot of glue directly onto the card for this one. And then I did pink on that layer, but I've actually done it black in the end, and I've added a bit of glossy accents as well to make it shiny. So there we are. So that's the cat finished. And I did do an extra layer of the bird so that it looks like he's standing in the cat's head. So I think he'd be a layer in front So we'll just add one blob of glue behind him and spread a little bit up to the top. And it does take pinflower gel a little while to set. I usually leave mine out overnight to make sure that they're fully set before I post them. Obviously they are going to be a large letter weight if you do post them, because they're far too raised to be a letter here in the UK. Right, while we're working our way backwards, I've just noticed as well I haven't done the pom-pom. So we'll just add a drop of pinflower gel on there. And then I've got my pom-pom, which again I've added some stickles to make it nice and glittery. But that's now all raised up as well. And now we're onto the bunny layers. Actually, no, let's finish the cat off. We've got the hand of the bear, which will obviously be a layer higher than the cat. So I've done that as a separate element as well. And again, once we get that in place, we want to, oh, I've got far too much glue on that bit. I'm going to push down more on this back edge, and then I will have to take some more glue off in a second, so that it looks like it's coming round the back of the cat. Okay, so that's that layer. And to finish off the bear, I've got a nice shiny nose for him as well. Again, I've just used glossy accents over the top of my pencil colouring to make it nice and shiny. Lock it down a bit so it's not covering up his eyes. There we go. Right, now we're onto the bunny. So exactly the same process again. Sorry, that's gone off camera. So more rolled blobs. We need 2 tiny bits on the fronds of the hat again. Sorry, you can be neater than me. I'm trying to do this in a kind of a rush. I would take a bit longer normally. And the bigger your rolls, the deeper your layers will be. So if you don't want it as deep, then just make your rolls a little smaller or squash it down a bit more, but be careful you don't get too much squeezing out. You need a tiny bit on the candle for the cake. Make sure you've got it towards all the edges. Little dimple. Right. I need a bit right where I picked the tweezers up. So again, I've done some very light colouring on this layer, and this layer has got the final colouring for the leg. I decided to add another foot when I was doing the cutting out, but I'll just turn that tissue over because it's got a bit gluey. So this is another layer of bunny without the bear's leg this time, to bring the bunny further forward, and this is the final colouring layer for the bunny. You'll see it again, I've done the same trick at the bottom. I've cut his feet apart to cut out the bit that I didn't want, but once I put the glue on, you won't be able to tell that I've made a snip there at all, so it really doesn't matter. But if you are handy with a craft knife, then you can avoid having to do that by using a craft knife, but I didn't have mine at the desk with me when I was doing it, so I just went for the scissors method. And I've now managed to get glue up my arm, so that's going to be interesting later. I'm not a neat crafter. You might already have guessed that. So again, that's our final layer of bunny. So now you're really starting to see, I hope, that it's looking very three-dimensional with the different layers of the different animals. So what I've done for the final layer here is I've got the bunny's mouth, the hand of the bear and the cake. And again, I'll put a bit of shaping into the arm so that it, and the cake, so that it looks like he's holding it. So we want one nice generous blob just behind the cake in the middle. That'll spread out, and I just need a tiny bit off it for the cake flame. Some in the middle of the bunny. And a blob at the top of his face. And less at the bottom of his face again. Sorry, I know I keep going quiet. I do find it hard to talk and craft at the same time. It is a bit of a skill. I hope I develop it better soon. Right. So there's our cake and candle. And then we've got the arm of the bear on this side. We've got the nose for the bunny. Which again, I've done glossy accents because I like a shiny nose. I'll just blob on like that. I'll just scrape a little bit of glue away. And then we have his hat. And then finally, as I said, I decided I needed an extra layer just of the foot for the bear, because his foot will be further forward than his leg. So I just cut an extra foot, which we will plop into place behind the bunny foot. And apart from adding a sentiment and maybe a bit of background if you wanted, then that is our decoupaged image completed. So if I tilt it, you can see how many layers we've got, and hopefully that's giving you enough of an idea how to decoupage any of the stamps that you own. It's not just the Chilizography ones that will work for this. I've done this technique before with some of the Stampin' Bella images. You could definitely do it with floral images, not just characters, so the possibilities are absolutely endless. So I'll bring in the other card as well so you can see the difference between the flat image and the decoupaged. Both of them equally good, but I just wanted to give you another technique for your crafting arsenal. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you did, leave a comment if you did, and if there's any comments that you think I can improve on, then I'm happy to take feedback too. So yeah, that's it for today. Happy crafting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.